going to do a countdown here, and when I stop, we're going to be live. So, stand by. You ready, Commissioner?
Yes, sir.
All right. In five, four, three, two.
Hi, I'm Brady with News 13. I'm joined by Bay County Commissioner Robert Carroll. We're kind of going to do something a little different today. We're going to talk about a bunch of projects the county has going on. We're going to see if we can avoid talking about coronavirus and give everybody a little bit of a pandemic break today. Commissioner Carroll, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me today.
Hey, no problem. So, I mean, the first thing that you got to ask, if you're not talking about the pandemic, I suppose is Hurricane Michael and Hurricane Michael recovery. So, where is the county at in that process, and what's been going on there?
I think the county's made great strides. We're blessed to have an incredible staff on board. They've taken all these projects and moved them forward. We've actually got a bunch of projects we closed out. Our courthouse project, the roof's finally completed. They've finished up the third floor. They're getting ready to work on the other floors. We'll continue to pave roads. We're getting our firemen back into their stations. I have a slew of projects that we could talk about. We can spend most of your day if you like.
Well, that's all right. We got some time, so let's talk about a few of them. The thing for Hurricane Michael, one of the big ones was the property. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it, but it's the PPDR, I think, and you guys were coming to folks who maybe couldn't afford to sort of tear down a property, and you guys are knocking it down, making the property, fixing the issues there. So, how many of those do you have, and how's that process going?
So the PPDR is the private property demolition removal or debris removal, and they've taken about 71 structures down to date. We had just over 300 that were approved from FEMA. So we continue to take those properties down and try to get some of these people back to normal.
Yeah, so 71 so far, and you have 300 additional approved from FEMA on top of those 71, or 300 total?
302 total. So we're about almost a third of the way done with those properties.
How much?
About almost 15,000 yards of debris. So.
And FEMA's reimbursing that. The tax money to pay for that will come from the federal government, right?
Yes, sir, that's correct. And some of that stuff, we're scheduling demolition work. They're having to do asbestos surveys and forming the asbestos abatement before they can take the structures down. So all that's in the works, and it just takes time, unfortunately.
Sure, absolutely. And what's the ultimate sort of goal or project there? You knock a structure down. I assume the point is that you're hoping somebody will come back along and rebuild on top of the empty lot, right?
Absolutely. Well, and it diminishes property values when you've got those structures sitting there. I mean, you can have rodent problems. It's unsafe. You got kids playing in the neighborhood. So, I mean, it's just a lot of impact. Once we have these structures down, you got fire hazards. So just the overall safety issue is the most important.
All right. Well, yeah, absolutely. And we've certainly gotten those calls from people who are concerned. They did the right thing. They got with their insurance company, or they did it themselves and they fixed their home. And I'm sure you get those calls from people too. And they want to know why their neighbor's house is a scary mess,
Sure. Absolutely. I live in the Cove, and every day there's still houses that are coming down or new roofs still being put on. And it's the unfortunate thing that we're going to still live with probably another couple of years.
Yeah, that's certainly the case. The next big project the county was working on, and I mean, I don't know when the last time we talked to you guys about it, so it would be good to sort of get an update, was the courthouse project. The county had managed to keep the federal courthouse in town, but there were two or three sort of elements to that to make that work. So what's the latest with the federal courthouse project and the county's role in that?
So what we did is we took the juvenile justice courthouse. We showed that to the federal judges, and they couldn't believe at first that we would actually offer them that facility. Then we had damage from the hurricane, so that is still in the repairs. We have a contractor on board making those repairs. Meanwhile, we've hired a design build team to design the new juvenile justice, which goes at the old courthouse. And then, of course, you throw a hurricane in it and it messes up our courthouse. So we're doing repairs on that. But with some of the buildings that were damaged, it actually opened up more of the campus to allow us to have a better campus when we rebuild all this. So the courthouse, as I mentioned earlier, the roof is done. Third floor will be turned over sometime next week. And then they'll start working on floors 1 and 2, which will be the next couple of months. So it's making good strides.
Do county workers do the demo, or is that normally bid out, or how does that work? The demo part of it.
The county is overseeing a lot of that work, so I don't know if it's their labor. I think they've hired out some of that labor, but the county staff is overseeing the work.
All right. So the plan, because I had to write this a couple times for the website, and every time I tried to make sure I did it, because it's kind of like a Rube Goldberg thing where it's 1 + 2 + 3 = 12 or whatever. But the federal courthouse goes to the juvenile courthouse, and then you're going to have the juvenile guys, and are they going to be at the same sort of campus where the Bay County courthouse is right now? Is that how that works?
Yes.
Or were they at one point? Wasn't the city? There was a city building involved.
Well, the city had purchased property years ago for a federal courthouse.
Okay.
But the new plan is now we're going to expand, and it'll be adjacent to the existing courthouse. So it'll make our sheriff's job a lot easier. Well, he'll have one control, which you enter the courthouse and the juvenile justice through one gate, essentially. Where now he had to have 2 different operations. So it should make it much simpler, easier, and kind of a one-stop shop for anything to do with courthouse activities.
So what's the timeline on that looking like now, post-hurricane, middle of pandemic? How many months or weeks away are we from maybe getting this all completed? I know when I talk to attorneys, they really want that federal courthouse back. So they don't have to go to, and anybody who has to deal with federal court, you don't want to have to go to Tallahassee or Pensacola to deal with it. You'd like to do it here.
Yeah, the federal courthouse, that's a separate contract that's working on that from the courthouse. They currently are in operation out at the beach. And that'll be, I think, later on, maybe end of this year, that they'll be done with the federal courthouse. But the regular court, the juvenile justice is going to they're just getting started on the design effort. So it'll be at least a year and a half, 2 years before that was completed.
All right. And then you guys are also you've been working on some fire stations or an EMS station. What's going on there?
Actually, both. So we had fire station damage to Highland Park, Southport. Both of those we awarded contracts and had them made. They're basically like portable fire stations that we can move at a later date. They are getting shipped here. One of them will be operational mid-May, and the other one will be probably a few weeks after that. But Highland Park and Southport will be back in operation. They're temporary, but they're more of a permanent station for now. And when and if we ever build new stations, then those can be relocated elsewhere in the county.
Oh, okay. How does that? How's your ISO rating doing lately? I mean, are you? Because I know part of that is having enough stations. Do you guys have what you need, and are you going to be able to build enough to sort of keep that rating where it needs to be?
Yeah, we got it fortunately down to a 3, and the level has remained a 3. So we're blessed to have that rating.
Yeah, and that of course impacts homeowners insurance, all that kind of stuff. So it's
the lower the number, the better.
Deal. Yeah, absolutely. And then derelict boats is another issue here. And I mean, I know that any of us that drive around Bay County occasionally see these boats that are flipped over on their side or just laying out there in the water forever. And so what's the county working on there?
So we've got bids that open on Friday to remove 4 derelict vessels. The cost on those, it depends on where they are, what boat they are, but the bids on those can be anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 a piece. So we're working with the FWC, getting some grants to help remove. There's at least 4 that we're targeting now. So 2 of them are there by the Hathaway Bridge, and then the 2 others are elsewhere in the bay. But yeah, they're definitely not important, especially at the Hathaway Bridge. You can see them every time. I've got an office at the west end of the beach, so every day, you can't help but to look, and you're trying to see this beautiful view, and you see these derelict boats there. So,
Yeah. What are you hearing from folks these days? What's sort of the concerns you're hearing from your residents? Number one right now.
in the outlying areas, we're still hearing lots of concern about all the trees that are down, the potential for fire hazard, and how that's to be removed. That's probably the main concern that I'm hearing right now. Lots of people, especially now, they're still making sure that Tyndall's coming back online, which we continue to have conversations with them and assure that everything is progressing. So just making sure that, we get our economy back up, get our beaches open back up with time. That's probably the biggest thing now.
One concern we were hearing was about sewer repairs and sewer issues. People maybe causing issues countywide, flushing things that weren't supposed to be flushed. Is that another thing that you guys are looking at and dealing with?
Yeah, anything, I mean, toilet paper breaks down a lot easier. It's a lot softer material. When you have baby wipes or diapers or paper towels even, I mean, they're just a lot more, they're rougher materials easily. So it's a harder thing to process at the plant, but also because it takes such longer to break down, it can also cause clogs in your own line. So just be careful what you're flushing down the toilets, and be mindful of what you're putting in the toilet, because not only could it hurt downstream, but it could hurt your own line and clog it. So
And then there was another project we were talking about, the Hathaway pipeline project. What's going on there?
yes, sir. So we discovered there was the current water line that feeds Panama City Beach on the east side is installed in the bridge, and there was a leak. And so therefore we had to do a temporary repair and put a line on the east side of the bridge, or excuse me, south side. And we laid that 16-inch line until we came up with a new plan. And the design build team, they designed it and have successfully constructed, installed a new 16-inch pipe underneath the bay. It's been tied in, it's been tested, and it should be operational sometime next week. We're coordinating with Panama City Beach and DEP to get those valves open. We'll wait about 30 days or so, make sure there's no issues, and then we'll start dismantling the pipe that's on top of the bridge and get that pedestrian way open back up.
Oh, okay. What does that cost when you have to put in a new?
We were at about $9 million, I believe, was the
$9
total
million.
cost on
Wow.
that. It's one of the longest bores that's ever been accomplished. It was over 5,000 feet buried underground, pushed from one end to the other. So pretty amazing.
Okay. Listen, Commissioner Carroll, I appreciate you taking the time with us today, and I just want to let you, if there's anything else you want to tell the public about, any other projects, just let us know what's going on.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time, allowing us to be on the air, and allow us to spread some positive news about all the things that are going on. Real quick highlight, Thomas Drive is underway. It'll be completed June, July timeline. And Jinx Avenue, that's another one that will complete the four landing on it. That's in construction underway. So we're excited to get those two roadways behind us.
All right. Yeah, that'll be great when that gets done. Commissioner, thank you for your time. I appreciate you dropping by today, and I hope we can do this again and get another update, in the future about how some of these projects are coming along. All right.
My pleasure. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir.